the actual cooking part. So, this is going to be a little fast and furious, a little bit more dynamic. First thing we're going to use is a little bit of sesame oil. Sesame oil, you only need a little bit. It gives a nice smoky flavor. It also burns quickly, so don't use a lot of it. Then we're going to just use regular old vegetable oil to supplement it. You can use olive oil if you want. You can use a little bit less oil depending on your preferences, but you got to use a little bit because we're cooking with some real lean chicken here. So there's some oil plus some more. Those are official measurements. And that's that. Now, to find out if your oil is ready to be used, if you watch it, you can see it start to kind of convect and shimmer. You'll see it move independently. So I'll go ahead and level it, and you watch. You can see like little trails in the oil. When you see the little trails, that's a good indication that it's about ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the meat to that. We've got our cut up chicken. And bring that over. Start cooking pretty much right away. Obviously, we know after we've been handling chicken to wash our hands a lot. So the chicken's cooking away there. And I said it before, but I'll say it again, you gotta season everything, so a couple of shots of pepper in there. If you're making something that you're concerned about the color, you can use white pepper. You know, it's a little different. And we want to try to cook this chicken evenly, but not too much because we don't want it to get tough. We want it to stay moist and tender. So cook it at about medium heat after the initial high heat to get the pan going, because you don't want it to be going too fast, too furious. One of the things you can do to help aid you in cooking is to cover stuff. Covering it will keep in some heat, it reflects it back onto the top of the food, and that can make things go a little bit faster and smoother. Alright, so we've been cooking our chicken now. It's almost done. As you can see, there's plenty of moisture in the pan. You don't want to see any pink in the chicken, but you don't want it to go really a lot past that, or else you know, it can start to get kind of tough. Alright, so our chicken is now cooked through. There's some moisture in the bottom of the pan that's come out of the chicken, combined with that nice sesame oil. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our vegetables that we cut up earlier. And the idea of this here is we're going to try to use the heat to kind of wilt the vegetables down a little bit, but we want them to retain their crispness. Also, if you've been using a particular utensil on raw chicken, time to ditch it. New utensil, because now we're on the finished product. So we're going to go ahead and let this thing kind of cook down just a little bit. Try to soften up some of those veggies, but not too much. You still want some nice crisp to it. You go ahead and put the cover on, that should help. Okay, so we've been cooking our vegetables for a little bit. The onions are starting to get a little bit softer. That's a good sign. The next and pretty much last thing we're going to do is we're going to add in all of the sauce that we made earlier. See, we want all that garlic and ginger to get down in there. I'm just going to kind of toss it around. And what's going to happen is the chicken's going to pick up that flavor from the soy and the garlic, and it's going to be great. It's nice and light, you know. Not a heavy dish by any means. It's good, especially if you're, you know, eating late. You don't want to eat anything all that heavy. We're going to go ahead and let that cook down just a little bit. And while that's going on, we're going to come over here and show you what goes along with it. What goes along with the stir fry, you ask? Rice. Now, I made a bunch of rice ahead of time because I had a reason to. This is jasmine rice. You can buy it at Safeway or Giant, anything like that. Follow the instructions on the bag. I had a little bit of adobo, which is pretty common flavor. You see that mostly in Latin cooking, but it's basically garlic and pepper and salt. And who doesn't like that? So we'll go ahead and just throw that in there and go ahead and give it a quick zap, and then we'll have rice. So one of the tricks of Chinese cooking is cornstarch. We want to help thicken up the sauce a little bit, give it a little more body. So we've got just a tiny bit of cornstarch. It's really not much. You really only need a little bit. It goes a long way. We're going to add a little bit of water to it and mix it up. And what that's going to do is going to make like a little liquid cornstarch. And when the liquid cornstarch hits the sauce and it hits the heat, it's going to thicken up the sauce. So if you can see what it looks like now, it's kind of runny. I'm going to go ahead and add this in. Stir it around. You're going to see it start to thicken right up. Just give it a minute. Get a little bit of that heat action. Alright, so we've added the cornstarch, we've added some heat, and now you'll see the sauce. It's a little bit more thickness to it. Not a whole lot. You don't want to, this isn't really a thick sauce kind of dish because it's a stir fry. So that would be that part. We can go ahead and take our rice, which is now hot. Go ahead and throw that in the bowl. A little bit more in there. And get a nice big helping of delicious, healthy stir fry right there on top of the rice. A little bit of that sauce will run down into it. Make everybody happy. Sometimes a little bit of extra sauce is a good thing. Who doesn't like sauce? Alright, and that is stir fry. Have a good evening.